Yo. I've got to stop pulling stupid faces at the beginning of these live streams because you can guarantee Facebook's going to choose that one for my fucking thumbnail, can't you? The bastard. Okay. Share the things, share the things. Weesh. Hey, Peter. What's happening here? What's going on? Hello, hello. Why won't it let me share the video? I don't know. Cool. Love that some of you are jumping on live. I always do enjoy being able to actually speak to people. Why will it not let me share this? That's annoying, isn't it? Oh, Jamie Shue. Jamie, the macker of Shue, is here. Oh, hey, MJ. Nice to have you live as well. Oh, apparently it's just not happening. I'm not allowed to share this live stream, apparently, so just have to wait till I'm done. Silas, is that your bird? So my beautiful wifey from across the ocean, Jamie, has the cutest freaking bird that like sits on her shoulder and gives her kisses, and it's just insane. I'm so jealous. So jealous. Even my dog doesn't love me as much as your bird loves you. I've been having some thoughts, as one does, so I thought I'd share them with you. And there's a few things actually, as always, like my brain being the spider diagram that it is. Little birdie Silas, so cute. So, hey Beverly, nice to have you on live, my dear. I'm very well at, I have like red lipstick all over my teeth. And again, that's going to be, you just know Facebook's going to choose that for the thumbnail. You just know. When one has a face as expressive as mine is, it's like impossible to get a sexy, maybe if I just like, maybe Facebook will choose that and then I won't have to have, you know, whatever. It's fine. Comedy value. It's all good. I actually wrote some things down because I had so many ideas about what I wanted to talk about. When I decided like, oh, I'm going to go live, I just had all this flurry of ideas. I was like, fuck, I don't know which one to choose. So I'll probably end up talking about all of them. I'd also like you to welcome to the live stream my good friend Enid, the chin spot. I've given her a name. She's called Enid, and she does have a little friend next to her called Blyton. Yeah, see what I did there? Yo, bride. I had a feeling you were gonna show up on this one. I don't know why. I just felt like you'd be here, and here you are, of course. Yes, Enid and Blyton are my lovely spots that have arrived, apparently, to signal to me the fact that I should never eat bread. And that is the story for today. So I wanted to kind of kick this off by talking to you about this idea of like pushing and striving versus just loving yourself enough to show the fuck up for your life. And I think we can get them so confused because I think a lot of people will see like the way that I train at the gym, the way that I show up in my business, and just in general, like I have an intensity about me, you know, like I am aware of this. And so if people look at me and would think, fuck, I don't have that much energy. I can't possibly show up like that all the time. Or, oh my God, I don't want to have to train that hard to get the body I want, or whatever it is that you believe. That's just you making up a story in your head about what my life is actually like. Because it is a fucking privilege and an honor to live the life that I lead. And I know that every single day, even when I'm feeling like shit internally, like even if I'm having like an emotional day where my emotions are just a bit like, every day is an emotional day. I'm fucking sacral authority. I am a human emotion. But when I'm having a day where maybe I'm experiencing emotions that I would have categorized as being negative or like unpleasant to feel in the body, you know, even on those days, I'm so grateful for the life that I get to live and that I get to experience all of these things, because as I mentioned in a live stream a few days ago, I had like on a Monday, I effectively get to live my fucking dream day that I wrote down a few years ago. Like I get up, coffee and journaling and clearing in the morning, hang out with my sausage dog. Then I get to go to the gym and train with my trainer Pedro for an hour, and he kicks my ass, and then I feel fucking amazing. I get to wear the sports gear that you know, all these little things like, oh, I'm going to dress in top to toe Lululemon, and not just for the gym. I was saying to my boyfriend yesterday, that's something that I was kind of taking stock of where I am. I was like, that was something that was in my like creation journaling, like about 4 years ago, and like 5 years ago, even when I discovered like how much I love Lululemon clothes. I was like, one day, I'm not just going to buy them for the gym, I'm going to wear them all the time. And the irony being, as I say this, I am literally top to toe, including my pants, are from Lululemon. And it's not about having designer yoga wear or whatever. It's about seeing how the person I knew I wanted to be, and you know, that goalpost is always going to move. Success is always going to look different. Every time it's like new level, new devil, right? Every time you step into more of like being more of yourself and allowing more into your life, there's going to be that moment where you recalibrate, and then because we're growth orientated, we're going to see something else and be like, oh, that's where I want to go. So it's about not shaming yourself for wanting more, while still being deeply grateful for where you are and remembering where you came from. And we get to do all of those things. There's no need to feel ashamed of where you are now versus where you want to be, because at some point, what you have right now is exactly what you wanted time ago. You know, it's like we forget what we wanted because we're so busy focusing on what we want next. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that's absolutely fucking fine. I do it all the time. There's no shame in that. It's only when we start to feel, when we use the distance, when we use the gap between us and the thing that we want or the person that we feel we need to become, when we use the gap and the distance as something to beat ourselves up with, rather than an exciting fucking adventure. Like, I shared my money story over the last week because I was launching the 30-day money mindset reset, which you can still join, by the way, which is, I'm doing this hoping that it is up there. The link to the 30-day money mindset reset. You can still join for the next few days. We do our first clearing session tomorrow, so if you can get in before tomorrow, do it. It will be magical. But yeah, so I was going in on my launch for that, so I was telling my money story, and part of that was very much about what I've just been talking about. So when I think about, you know, like I can't remember whether it was part 3, maybe it was part 3, when I talked about making the decision to become a spiral practitioner and not knowing how I was going to pay for it, and then, you know, making the decision and then getting excited. For the first time ever, I kind of felt like I was actually excited about, wow, how am I going to make the money, rather than how am I going to make the money? It was like, but cool, like how am I going to make the money? I get to help so many people and create so much cool shit. And even now, like, I feel excited talking about it. Because when I think about a financial goal or that I want to invest in something, I don't see it as a problem anymore. I used to see it as a problem. Now I just see it as like an opportunity. Like, usually I have the funds now because of the way that I've structured my life. But even if I didn't, I would just look at, how can I create this wealth? How can I call this money into my life? What beautiful offerings am I going to get to create and put out into the world? What am I going to learn about myself in the process of calling this money in? And one of the most beautiful things about the 30-day money mindset reset program is that it's 30 days of structured content to help you continually dig that little bit deeper and peel back and reveal more and more layers of the shit that's been holding you back, so that you can get to know yourself better. Because in my mind, that's the real win. Anytime I have a desire for something, I don't question it anymore. I just allow myself to be with the desire. And even if it feels really fucking weird, I allow myself to at least feel into it, because sometimes we think that, particularly like manifesting generator over here, I have like 800 ideas at any one moment. So very much got conditioned into thinking that you had to pick one thing, stick with it, and just stay the course, keep going, don't change your mind, you know, laser focus, etc. And that's where that kind of striving mindset came from. It's almost like I have to do it all now before I lose the spark, before I lose the fire for what I'm doing. And, you know, it's like I had to, because I was aware that the way that I actually like to work, which is what I've learned about myself, and I now use it in my, you know, like I work with it rather than against it. Because I like to do lots of things at any one moment, what I'll often be doing is I'll kind of be working on things and creating things, and I might be enrolled in something and I'm learning something new over here. But none of that takes away from the fact that I'm running a fucking business. I desire to have a huge impact in the world and really help people and change their lives in various ways, whether it's around money or business or weight or whatever it is they come to me for. And I really want to do that from a place of feeling good. I was talking to someone today and I was like, I'm not interested in creating something if it feels hard. And that doesn't mean that I won't work for something. And this is where we get confused, people. We think that we have to work hard and strive and push. And it's like, for me, some people, that might really work for them. Okay, so I'm not saying that's wrong. All I'm saying is, if you are someone who is like me and you've always felt there must be another way, then you're right. Like, listen to that intuitive knowing inside of you. If you're feeling like this shouldn't be this fucking hard, then it probably shouldn't be. And therefore, rather than just throwing it away, maybe look at ways that you can either kind of fan your own flames. So maybe it's about the fact that if you're launching something in your business and you keep like fizzling out and not being able to kind of maintain any passion or drive or creativity around it, and if it starts to feel like a chore to market something, there's something out of alignment. Maybe it's not priced correctly. Maybe it was priced correctly for when you started, but now that you're feeling more into it, you realize, fuck, there's so much value in here. I should really put the price up. You know, like, give yourself permission to change your mind and to be okay with, so what if people think you're flaky and unreliable? Who gives a fuck? It's your business. It's your life. You get to do whatever the fuck you want. And who fucking cares what other people think? The only people who are really going to be triggered by or like think you're flaky or negative things about you, the only people who are ever going to think that stuff about you are the people who aren't fucking doing anything with their lives in the first place. Hey, Lady V, nice to see you on live. Yeah, I just think that such a big part of my journey has been like the releasing of the giving a fucks about what other people think about how I'm running my business or what I'm doing. And sometimes because I fall into compare and despair, what I realized was I started to, oh, I know they're good, aren't they? I love a bit of red lip action, I've got to say. I feel like I should have been born in like the 1940s when it was like super, you know, on vogue, shall we say. Fuck it, gonna do it anyway. Look like a hooker, I don't care. Or maybe I should just go for pin-up rather than hooker. Sorry. Fuck yeah. Some of the shit that comes out of my mouth when I do live streams. But it's fine. I'm kind of proving the point, right? So if someone has something to say about the way you're running your business, unless you're paying them or unless you ask them for their opinion, I would very swiftly flick them the V's and tell them to go and maybe deal, you know, look in the mirror, deal with their own shit, right? So when it comes to a lot, it's interesting actually, like I'm just reflecting, so many people, so many clients who come to me, we end up working through that stuff, right? Because they, you know, I kind of magnetize the people that I can help the best. So very often I've had to kind of work through things that they are working through, and therefore I have an insight that maybe they wouldn't have if they didn't work with me, and that's where they're magnetized to me, and that's how this beautiful industry kind of proliferates itself, right? We see other people doing the thing and we want to know how they did it, and then we go and learn from them. That's how this shit works. So for me, one of the things I realize is that there's always another layer of not giving a fuck what other people think. And you might think that you've reached the peak of like, I just give no fucks. But actually, there's always another layer. You can always give less fucks. I got to get some merch, right? You can always give less fucks. Just saying. Hashtag just saying. But this idea that anyone would ever look at the way that I do things and think that I am like pushing against myself, or pushing like swimming upstream, or you know, like doing things the hard way, or keep like so busy, doing so much, working so hard. It's like, if you knew how much I actually do in a day, you'd probably be appalled, I tell you, appalled. Because, you know, today, as I say, like I got up leisurely, had my coffee, went and trained with my trainer, I came home, I was on a call for a program that I'm learning, this new modality that I'm studying, so I'm like, I had a call for that, and now I'm here with you, and then I'm probably gonna just chill out for the rest of the afternoon and like check in with my money mindset group and make sure everyone's doing okay in there. But it's like, maybe that would sound like a lot to some people. I don't know. Maybe it would sound like a lot to train like 5 or 6 times a week. I don't know. But the fact is, for me, it comes from a place of, I'm always driven by, what do I actually want to do? And I know when I'm not coming from that place, because shit dries up. Everything. You know what I'm saying. Is everything in my life kind of goes stagnant and a little bit like, when I'm not allowing myself to just follow what feels good. And it's a continual balancing act, you know, like I go out of alignment on a regular basis, and it's just about noticing that quicker and quicker, and then being able to bring myself back. Anyone, I mean, maybe there are people, who am I to say? I was going to say, I don't think anyone is in balance 100% of the time, or like in alignment 100% of the time, but I don't know that, so I can't possibly say that that is fact. But what I do know is that from my own personal journey, it's less about like trying to keep everything on an even keel, and more about understanding that those ebbs and flows are just like so fucking human, and that it's okay to be human, and that actually the human experience is a really beautiful thing when we allow ourselves to really just enjoy it. So the other thing that I wanted to talk to you about today, shuffling my papers over here. Hi Taylor, hi Stacey, hi Becca. Jamie would buy that t-shirt. Right, that's it. Merch needs to happen. Hannah, Christmas present. You want that on knickers? Thong or like granny pants? Do you want some Bridget Joneses with that one? They have to be quite a large pair of pants, or a very small font. Would you like it across the vajazzle or across the buttocks? Very important details, because you know that that's what you're getting for Christmas now, Hannah. Merchandise. What else did I want to say to you? What else did I want to say? Yeah, just that there's a difference between this push strive versus like, ooh, I love, just kick my tripod. Under the gusset, inside or outside? Would you like the words pressed against your vagina, or gusset is quite possibly the best word that's ever been said in a live stream? So thank you for gifting me that, Thai bride. Yeah, there is a difference, committing to what you want. And actually, for me, committing to what I want from life has been a journey of loving myself more, becoming more anchored into my own, just the fact that I am deserving of the life that I desire, just because I exist. And just doing, like, being willing to do whatever it takes. And it's such an interesting, I feel like when I say these words, like I am willing to do whatever it takes to get me the results that I want, I'm very aware that that sounds like pushing and striving, but it's actually not, because I want the thing, and if it doesn't feel good the way that I'm doing it, I will change the way I'm doing it, but I don't give up on the goal, right? So it's not this kind of, you know, I'm not a massive fan of like the masculine, feminine type language, but in this in this kind of spiritual realm, it seems quite a lot. That kind of like penetrative way of, this is how it's going to happen. I'm going to go from here to there, and this is how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to stay the fucking course, even if it doesn't feel good. Like I'm going to, you know, I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to be in a calorie deficit. I'm going to lift weights. I'm going to run every day. And it's just like, well, as soon as I can make a plan, and the creating of the plan is the fun part. Following the plan feels like shit. So what I will tend to do is I will just decide what I want, and I will use creation journaling, and I'll find something I love. Like, it's no work for me to go to the gym and train Muay Thai because I love it. It is an absolute, as I said, like an honor and a privilege for me to be able to go to a gym that I love with amazing trainers and learn and evolve and like get my body to, like, my body does such amazing shit when I'm in that gym. I'm like, holy fuck, I had no idea I could even do that. And physical training for me is such a great, it's such a great thing that translates into my business, because so often there'll be times where it's like just one more round, and everything in my body is like, no, I'm dying. But I know that I can activate that place in me, that fire. I can get one more round out, even if it's not my best round, although we do say last round, best round. That's like a catchphrase of the gym. Even if it's not the best round in terms of like, you know, technicality or like power, or speed, to be able to get up and just go one more round, to like, to recondition my body into knowing that the limits I've placed upon it are only limits in my mind. My body can do so much more, and it would do so much more. And the more that I allow myself to kind of edge out of my comfort zone and kind of meet that edge and then stretch a little bit beyond it, the more I get out of my body. And actually, over the last year, I've really began to understand, like really understand in an embodied way, not just like a, low power, not just in like a mental conscious way, but like in a fully embodied soul cellular understanding, how important my body is to me, and how important it is that I'm not just living this fucking ethereal, spiritual, unembodied, just, or disembodied. That sounds a bit grotesque. Well, we're nearing Halloween. It's appropriate language for the time of year, but it's that kind of like floaty, ethereal, I'm not even in my body kind of vibe, versus I'm very 3D. Like, yeah, I might be a bit of a, you know, like a witch on the sly. But I'm actually very 3-dimensional. I'm very much like here in this reality, and I love to use this physical body, and I love to make money, and I love to do things as a human. I actually really enjoy it, and that's been a big part of my journey. I never used to. I used to be really, almost to the point where before I went through the spiral, I spent so much time like up here in my head and in like the top chakras that I didn't even really know how to feel my emotions. And I could talk about them and intellectualize them because, you know, I'm bright. What can I say? But to feel those motherfuckers is very, very different. And it's a big part of the work that I do with people, is like drop kicking incredibly like driven women into their emotions. So yeah, there we go. Who knows what tangent we're on now. True, but these times are so hard to stay motivated minus work. Okay. Using any kind of external circumstance, whether it's COVID or anything else, to justify staying in a story of struggle, though, is kind of part of the problem, right? So it's also about, like, I used to work for a charity. I used to work for an arts charity, which is incredibly, when you work for an arts charity, it's like very much at the bottom of people's list when they think of charities. It's not like, my go-to for charitable giving every month is animal charities. Like, they are at the top of my list. Animal charities get money from me every month. But when it comes to the arts, I used to work in a fucking arts charity, so I'm very aware of the kind of like the money mindset and mentality and the energetics of money that occurs within a charity at times. So I can see how it would be tricky if you're in that environment, but also like you do get to change that paradigm. Maybe you're the person, Evie, who gets to actually be like the guiding light of, we don't have to let external circumstances like things like COVID, we don't have to let that stuff determine how much money we make or how many clients we get to serve or how many people we get to help or how I get to take care of my body. Like, we don't have to let those things, and I can feel this might be triggering for some people, but this is just the way I view the world, and if you view it differently, that's okay, and your opinion is valid. However, this is my Facebook page, so I'm going to talk about it in the way I want to. I don't allow, or if I do allow external circumstances to become the story in my head and become my reality, that to me is a sure sign that I need to go within and really check in with, am I in my sovereignty? Am I allowing myself to remember that I am a conscious creator of my reality, and that everything is energy, everything is frequency. My beliefs and what I stand for is what I'm going to see in the world. So I need to be open to questioning everything. Yeah, I need to be open to questioning what the news is telling me, so I don't fucking watch the news. I need to be open to questioning anything that is triggering for me, or anything that feels like it's stifling me, or anything that feels like it's a limitation. As soon as I feel something as like a block or a limitation, I'm fucking journals out, the clearing comes out, I'm fucking tapping that shit out. Because in my mind, my purpose on this planet is expansion, and everyone has a different purpose. So I'm not saying this has to be yours, but for me, one of my key, points within my purpose is to be in a constant state of expansion, whether that means that I might say contradictory here, but whether that I'm in like the contracted phase of my ultimate expansion, or whether I am, in that growth phase. Because obviously, like, sometimes we contract before we grow, right? It's like the little seed compacted down under the ground, and then we like explode out of the ground. I hope so. I want out of this. So yeah, trying to get out and make each day positive. Yeah, I think that's a great, it's a great way to look at it, and just keep deciding every single day that life gets to be the way that you want it to be. And it is, I understand that with all of the shit that's happening in the world, like I even had a call with the beautiful Jamie, who was on I don't know if she's still here, but she was on earlier. And, she lives in America. I live in the Channel Islands in the UK. We are far, far apart. And since we met last year, the beginning of last year, we've known each other nearly 2 years, we haven't gone this long without seeing each other. Like, we've made a point of meeting up. I went to New York and we hung out there. We went to Bali together. Like, we've made a point of seeing each other as regularly as we can, given the distance. And this has been the longest we've gone without seeing each other. And I said to her on that call that we had, like, I actually got very emotional, very tearful, because I allowed myself to fully feel a lot of the things I hadn't been allowing myself to feel about the current global situation. And I just said to her, I've almost had to just kind of deal with it. I just had to kind of keep moving and not really go. I could have very easily got sucked into like my own sob story about it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I can't see my friend, boo-hoo. And so in that moment, I allowed myself to feel it fully and like cry on the call with her. And then, before we knew it, we were laughing again and moving through it, and it was gone. So I completely understand that there is this difference between like spiritually bypassing ourselves and others versus, there's like on one end there's the spiritual bypassing, and on the other end there's like this overindulgence in our own pity party and sob story, where we get so sucked into it that we're like in this vortex of despair, and we feel like we can't get out of it. But again, for me, it's like feeling into both of those, because they're both true and not true. Ooh, non-dualism. But finding that point in the middle where we're okay with kind of bypassing ourselves a little bit, just so we can get through the fucking day without just being a ball of, our own bullshit. And also allowing ourselves the space to fully feel the emotions, because it's all available to us. You know, the kind of numbing out, or not even numbing out, but like the spiritual bypassing and taking that kind of higher consciousness place of, I am an enlightened being and I create my own reality, versus like, oh my God, I can't see my friend, I may never see her again, what if this never ends, oh my God. And fully allowing myself to go into that, knowing that I can hold myself in that. I can hold that amount of emotion in my body because I've done the fucking work to be able to. Yeah, there was a time where if I felt emotions like that, that's a month gone. You know, I used to be so unable to actually feel my own emotions and have that amount of energy moving through my body, that if I felt it, I would literally get sucked into it. And I was fucking terrified of my emotions for years because of that. Whereas now I'm able to kind of play with both. I'm able to give myself those pockets of time where I just go in and like feel the whole thing. As my friend Yana would say, like, go under, you know, like go fully under and into the emotion and let it move through me, because I understand that the emotion is just an energy that needs to be expressed and released and felt, and then it gets to move on, right? And I get to carry on with my life. And I'm also very able to always see, kind of third eye styly, I'm always able to see a different perspective on the situation, which enables me to continue working towards things like goals and continue, excuse me, I'm shifting as I talk, burping away here. It also allows me to continue making money and receiving clients and having inspiration for ideas, for offerings I can create and ways that I can serve. You know, free content that I can put out that's going to help people, paid content that's going to help people at all different levels. You know, if I was to completely fall into the pit of despair and believe everything that the news tells us and just like disappear up my own asshole for months at a time, I'd be fuck all use to anybody. So I'm always coming back to that place of my ultimate goal is expansion, and knowing that I can hold myself in those bigger, all-consuming emotions has really helped me to be able to come to that place of, I mean, I say balance, like balance is something that actually exists. I'm not sure that it does. I think we have moments of like, I think when I think of balance, what I'm actually talking about is like alignment, really. Yeah, when I talk about balance, I'm not talking about everything being like perfect. I'm talking more about like, this feels like a good thing for me. I feel like I'm in like an aligned space. Everything seems to be lining up for me. And also trusting that sometimes the aligned thing to feel is despair. You know, alignment doesn't always feel like unicorns and rainbows. Sometimes the aligned thing, the thing that needs to happen for you to progress, is for you to journey one of the darker, heavier emotions and move through it, so that it can, you know, like actually allow yourself, if you really allow yourself to feel even the darker emotions, this is certainly something I've noticed for myself anyway. If I allow myself to fully go into those emotions when they're present, it's like I allow the energy of that emotion to like, it becomes something that's actually nurturing. It's deeply fucking nurturing for me to go into my despair, into my grief, into my shame, and just like, and feel it, but not become it. That's different. To then become defined by how I feel is a very different thing. So to me, there's a difference. Well, thank you, Jamie Shue. Nice to have you on. You and your little birdie. Chirp, chirp. Any questions or observations whilst I grab myself a sip of tea? Any reflections? Let me know. All about my teapot at the moment. Loving a bit of green tea. Yeah, let me know. Any reflections? Any aha moments? What are you taking from this so far? See if there's anything else. I feel like I'm having one of those days where I feel like I could just stream all day. I could just be like, blah, 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 sharing all of the thoughts that come to me. Maybe I'll split them up into a few live streams over the next couple of days. notepad. See if anything else that I noted down previously needs to be shared. No, they feel a bit too random. Alrighty, well, I'll check back in with the comments later. I think sometimes it takes a little while for them to catch up. I'm going to disappear. Feel free to come and join us in the 30-day money mindset reset. I do hope this has been of value to you. And if it has, obviously like it, share it, tell all your friends, come and work with me, do all the things. And most importantly, let me know what you've taken from this in the comments. When, yeah, for me, I feel it's fight or flight, but every day is a new day, and today you have made my day. Well, Evie, I'm glad. I'm very, very glad. Glad to have been of service. Excellent. Thank you all so much for being here with me. I always find it so much more pleasurable to be in a situation where I know there are humans who are actually receiving the transmission that's coming through me. It feels like it just gives me so much life, and it nourishes me so deeply I can't even express. Like, it's just, yeah, it's a very nourishing experience for me to be able to share my words and my musings and all of the things that come through me, and know that even if they land with just one fucking person, like if Eve is the only person today that I have supported, that feels fucking amazing to me. So yeah, and I mean, Jamie, you've been a big part of my journey with that as well. I feel like our sisterhood that we have with Yumi and Kelly, you know, has really held space for me to get to know and love all those parts of myself, and also to be loved in them by others, you know, I think is such a huge part of this journey. So thanks everyone for being here. Hope to see you in the money program. If not, I'll see you on my next live. I am sure. Love you. Bye.